We're in Dresden as German anti-fascist protesters fight running battles with police. That's coming up as well. Stay tuned.
Hello, welcome to another look at the international forecast. More wintry weather making its way across North America. We've got a mix of rain, snow and some very strong winds coming in through this particular system. Now pulling out of California, running in across the Rockies, and boy does this expand. Look at this, huge mass of snow right through the northern plains, pushing right across much of the Midwest as we go on through Sunday. 6 Celsius there for Chicago and for Denver. Wintry weather, blizzard conditions. It's still very windy into that northeastern corner as well, but at least here it should be dry. Look south, well here, spring appears to be arriving. 23 Celsius there for Dallas and a 26 to come there for Miami. Come down into the Caribbean and it's not looking too bad. We've got a northeasterly wind which will bring some heavy showers into Hispaniola. Puerto Rico could see some rather lively showers too. Then we've got that warm moist air coming in across the Caribbean, and that's going to push its way into southern areas of Central America. But that aside, it's looking pretty good. Some very pleasant and warm sunshine to come. Some warm sunshine too into Europe, but no great shakes in the temperatures. 13 or 14 degrees there for Rome and for Athens. A wintry mix down towards the southeastern corner, just around the Black Sea. The mild air continues to come into western parts. 8 in London.
He's taken stolen goods and he's now dumping them onto the world without any sort of consideration for consequences.
From people making the news.
If the North will be saved a lot of trouble, I think it is important that they should come together.
To those it affects.
We do accept that there was very bad mistakes made in our banking area.
Behind the headlines.
Most South Koreans are not interested in reunification.
Is the inside story. At this time on Al Jazeera.
The headlines for you on Al Jazeera. Anti-government protests in Libya are widening. Witnesses are talking about a massacre by government security forces in the city of Benghazi. A doctor there has told Al Jazeera she's seen over 50 dead in the hospital that she works in. And in the city of Baida, east of Benghazi, foreign mercenaries have been seen on the streets. Witnesses have told us they're shooting live ammunition at demonstrators. Bahrain's opposition groups are expected to put their demands to the Gulf state's crown prince. Anti-government protesters have gathered once again at Pearl Roundabout after riot police left the area on Saturday afternoon. One person has reportedly been killed and dozens injured in the latest violent clashes in Yemen. The country's interior ministry has denied the report. Anti-government protests there began 9 days ago. Al Jazeera's Hashim Al-Bara is in the capital, Sana'a.
Pitched streets battles in the capital, Sana'a. Clashes break out as government loyalists prevent students from streaming into the main streets. Security forces open fire. This is one of the casualties, a pro-democracy activist shot in the shoulder. He is carried away by his colleagues to a safer location. Paramedics attempt to stop the bleeding. The Al Jazeera camera captures a government supporter holding an AK-47 rifle shooting at the protesters. Demonstrators say plainclothes policemen are blending in with the crowds to take part in the clampdown. This demonstrator is calling on his colleagues to hold out and fight for an end to injustice. The increased tension in the capital has spread across the country. The city of Taiz saw the biggest gathering so far in Yemen since the start of the popular demands for President Saleh to go. Home to Yemen's urbanite elite, the city has become the epicenter of the reformist movement. Despite the heavy-handed response by security forces and the threats targeting the demonstrators, rallies show no signs of relenting. Unrest is widening and the calls for change are reverberating across the country. For these people, the will of change is unstoppable. Government officials are cautioning against unrest. They say if the regime is toppled by force, anarchy will prevail, inviting tribes to raid the capital, which will drag the country into chaos and lawlessness, where is shrugged off by the protesters as a fear tactic to discourage people from taking to the streets to enforce reform. Hashim Al-Barra, AlJazeera, Sana'a.
The Egyptian Stock Exchange will remain shut on Sunday, marking 3 weeks of closure due to the country's political upheaval. But Egyptian officials say that emergency laws will be lifted within 6 months and proposals to amend the constitution are almost ready. Well, those were among the demands of pro-democracy campaigners who ousted President Hosni Mubarak more than 1 week ago. Well, Egypt has also reopened its Rafah border with the Gaza Strip for several hours a day. The crossing was closed due to the unrest in Egypt, leaving many Palestinians stranded. Here's Nicole Johnston from Rafah.
Opening the gates to Gaza, these Palestinians are happy to be arriving home at last. They were stuck in Egypt during its unrest because the Rafah border crossing had been closed for over 2 weeks. Now Egypt is opening it for 5 hours a day so that more than 4,000 Gazans can return home. But still, no one can leave Gaza for Egypt. Salama Hamada was in Cairo for an eye operation with his son. They were forced to stay an extra week.
The first 10 days, the security was very bad, and we were afraid of the gangs. On the 10th day, we were attacked in our hotel, and then we had to flee.
Others were inspired by Egypt's revolution.
For us as a Palestinian, it was a wonderful experience. Finally, the voice of justice has prevailed, and we should take this opportunity to congratulate the Egyptian people.
While hundreds of Palestinians in Egypt can now finally go home, there are thousands of people stuck in Gaza who are not allowed to leave, not even for humanitarian reasons. And for them, it's a frustrating wait.
I feel very bad. I want to go to my husband because he's sick, and I want to go to my family as well.
Most Palestinians regard Egypt as part of the siege on Gaza. It only allows foreign passport holders, patients and students studying abroad to leave. Hamas wants this to change.
We hope that everything will be open for people here to travel freely to Egypt without limits, without restrictions.
A hope all Gazans are holding in Egypt. Nicole Johnston, AlJazeera, Rafah.
In Uganda, the counting of votes is underway after Friday's election. President Yoweri Museveni is hoping to extend his 25-year rule. Official numbers